Hey everyone, welcome back to another Planet Coaster 2 build. Today we're diving into the brand new Western theme, a nostalgic throwback to Planet Coaster 1, but with better graphics and even more versatile pieces. I'm combining the updated Western set with a base game theme like Viking and Mythology, pushing creativity to the next level. This is a blueprint that you can get on the workshop right after this video. If you love seeing these classic themes return or just want some build inspiration, make sure to like and subscribe. Let's build. Alright, welcome back to another Planet Coaster 2 build. Before we jump in, I want to start by giving a huge thank you to Frontier for giving me early access to Update 3. Unfortunately, I was a little bit busy the 2 weeks prior here, so I didn't get to do much. I did start on this build, but unfortunately I only had time to finish it off and get the video ready for you guys today. But I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to check out the new features before release. In this video, we're building something really exciting. My very first Western themed build in Planet Coaster 2, a whiskey bar. I wanted to try something a bit different this time compared to my older builds in Planet Coaster 1. My goal was to create something that feels more alive, more authentic, and something you could actually picture in a real Western town, but with that immersive theme park twist. So when I started this build, I really wanted to focus on storytelling. In Planet Coaster 1, it was easy to get caught up in making things look nice, but I felt like some of my older builds lacked that lived-in feeling. With the whiskey bar, I wanted to bring that atmosphere to life. I pictured an old saloon where travelers stop for a drink with worn wood, dusty barrels, and little details that make it feel like it has history. One of the things I love about the updated Western theme is how much better the textures look. The weathered wood, rusted metal, it's perfect for this kind of build. I also mixed in some base game pieces from the Viking and Mythology sets, which really helped me break away from making it feel too uniform. Also, there are a few things that I would like to nitpick about this Western theme, is that all the animatronic stuff is not scalable, and it's kind of annoying since a lot of these things are overscaled for the other pieces we have in the game. So it's unfortunately a little bit of a downside for me with the animatronic part, but the rest of the pieces in the Western theme is really nice. I spent a lot of time focusing on the smaller elements, crates, barrels, lamps, and even some broken planks here and there, and some decals on the ground to make it feel worn down. I wanted the building to feel used, not perfect. I also added a few signs and props to give the impression that this is an actual functioning whiskey bar. So you'll see stacked barrels and maybe even some Western decorations around it. Small details like that really help immerse a guest in the story. I also add a little bit of lighting, which are also a big focus. During the day, the wood tones pop, but at night I wanted to have that warm glow that you expect from a saloon. I used a warm lighting and added some of those dim hanging lanterns outside to keep it realistic without overdoing it. One thing I love about Planet Coaster 2 is how much easier it is to blend themes. In this build, I didn't stick strictly to Western pieces. I used Viking, trim work, Mythology pieces, and some base game pieces to add more character. The ability to mix and match seamlessly really helps builds feel unique, and I think that's where Planet Coaster 2 really shines compared to the first game. The building tools are more flexible and the details you can achieve feel much more refined. And in Planet Coaster 1, I was happy if our building just looked decent. Now I want every build to feel like it's part of a world. Overall, I'm super happy how this build turned out. In this video, as you can see as we're following along here, you can see how much I add of different pieces from each theme in the game. Western is such a classic theme, and it's amazing to see it being brought back with the new improvements. But let's get into the video here. Let me tell you a little bit about what I'm doing. As you can see, I'm using this resort wall decoration as I used in my previous video about how to make a custom roof. But this time I wanted to have like a more certain angle to the shape here, so I have to use these new trim pieces. Why I say new is that I always use the brackets which we have in the Western pieces this time around, and these bracket pieces are extremely well for using for custom roofs and etc., as you can see here. But this, we use the other tropical roof trim pieces, as you can see here, and this is mainly just to make a big sign up here that will give out the atmosphere and the vibe of what it is you're entering here. I wanted a big sign that was like very, you know, right in your face, and I felt like this one really adds to it. And then we're obviously also adding in some custom fonts and etc. to add to this. But I was using a lot of the Western signs, as you can see here, to kind of like fit up everything here so I don't have any gaps between, so everything just looks smooth and nice. I was a big fan of the Western pieces in the base game for a long time, until I kind of like built my 20th blueprint in the game, and it kind of like got me, it kind of burned me out on Western, if I have to admit. And I kind of like I was not really feeling Western at all, even though I saw a lot of people build it. It just didn't give me any go. I wanna get going. I wanna build some Western stuff, even though how good they were or etc. It was just, I just had enough of it. But having it back now in Planet Coaster 2 really gives me a little bit of a spark again to kind of like try out some new things, as I just mentioned previously in the video. Because Western, in my case, I feel like it's one of the more easier themes to get by, to build, that actually could look nice no matter how you kind of like twist and turn the things, and you don't have to overdo it. Where in this case I'm kind of overdoing it a little bit, because as I said, I wanted to be a little bit more lived in. I want to get a rematch in, how you say, in my Western builds, and try to like evolve and be better and build a little bit more over the top. And I feel like this build here really says that and gives me a better view on how my Western builds are gonna be from now on. I do want to try build some more, maybe a little bit more funny or quirky, smaller builds that are mainly just more theme park prepped, and not so much in that sense of having a Western main street. But as you can see, we are doing some custom stairways here, and I'm using these little small wood panel piece here that really adds to it as well, and it's a really nice piece. If you do not know this piece, you should totally go and mark it as a favorite so you have it, because it really adds to the vibe of the build. So we are moving over to this here. As you can see, I'm doing this railing. I really love this Western railing as well, because it really adds to it, and it has that perfect Western rail vibe, and I just love it. And I thought I wanted to have that here on the front of it. So we're doing some custom railing here, which kind of took a little bit of a minute or two to do so, also to get it precise. So as you can see, we're kind of like skipping through this part and kind of like just adding it. So here I have it perfectly added on, and then afterwards I'm adding in the small little bits between, so we get a perfect nice stairway here. This build, unfortunately, is not very active in that way. It's very, there's no shops, there is no vending machines, there's nothing in it. It is mainly just a scenic build. I could have added some stuff inside the bar here, but I just kind of wanted to have like a nice exterior and a nice view from outside. And if you want to, after you download this new blueprint, you are more than welcome to try add in your own stuff inside to make this building more inactive for your guests and visitors. But we are doing some trim work here now. As you can see, the building is kind of like getting better and better for each moment and each thing we're adding on. And now we're going over to those brackets that I mentioned. These brackets are godsend. Like, they are truly an amazing piece. You should also go in and favorite these pieces, because you are going to use them a lot. Even though if it's just a custom move, if it's for doing a nice little bracket support here as we're doing, everything of these pieces are just good. And I'm speaking as a old Plankonian, or how you say that, this is a piece that you will definitely need and use a lot more of. We're adding a little bit of drapes here, kind of like in the same color scheme, just to add a little bit more flair to it. And then we are adding in some more details all the way around the build. So I wanted to have two different sides of the build, so each build or each side of the build represents something and has a little bit more of a unique touch to it. So here I did a little bit of an extension where I'm adding these sort of windows. It's not very familiar to have like these sort of kind of round edges to a window thing, but I felt like I wanted to try something that, as I say, made it a little bit more unique, made it stand out a little bit more. And I feel with this build that I'm doing now, this addition, that it really adds to the Western theme and the vibe of the whole build. And as you can see as well, I'm also mixing up some like more lighter brown with some darker brown colors within this yellow kind of color scheme we're going with here as well, and I kind of like it too. It really adds to the immersiveness, and it also, as I say, gives a little bit of a different touch what you usually are looking at. So as you can see, it will appear right now because unfortunately I forgot to record this little bit here, but don't worry, it's mainly just some windows, some trim pieces, and the Western signs again that I have used for this. But again, I'm using these small wooden brackets, as I told you guys about, that are just such a good piece for custom archways, supports. They are just good, and you can even scale them as well here in this game right now. So that is an extra win for the Western theme pack here. I say pack, but it's not really a pack, it's just an update, but you know what I mean. And it just really adds to it, and it's such a great piece. I did some custom roofs with this, and you can also watch those videos that are from Planet Coaster 1 if you kind of want to see what it is I was talking about. But we are moving over to the front here, and as you can see, I used the font pieces, and then I just went in and I wrote one letter at a time, so I got them in one each, individual piece, so it's not all the one sign. And why I did that was so I can get this little curb, as you can see on the sign here, and we're calling this Dwight Cole's Whiskey Bar. And I've been watching a lot of 1883, 1923, and it's just very nice to get this sort of inspiration from this, and it just really adds to it. And that's kind of also where I'm at when I sometimes add these details. But yeah, so as you can see, we created the sign here now, Dwight Cole's Whiskey Bar, and then I'm trying to find something that can kind of symbolize a bottle of some sort. And I was actually quite lucky to find this wall sign soda that I just kind of cover up the little straw there, as you can see, and just kind of have it as a little silhouette. Now to add that worn down kind of feeling, I add a few wall decals, as you can see, the grunge piece here, and I kind of color it into the whitish color that it has to give it that super nice feeling to it that is a little bit old and worn down. After that, I'm going over to this side here, as you can see, adding some window shutters, and I used to do this all the time back in the day too with Planet Coaster 1, using this sort of window piece here and turn it around, and then afterwards we're using the kind of iron brackets that we got with us too, and they're also adding so much depth and detail to this. As you can see, they kind of feels like a little, they just feel super nice that you can open and close these shutters for yourself. But more than this, we are adding the little bit of stuff around the build now, as you can see, and adding a little bit more of Western detailing to give it that super nice feeling to it. As I said, I will have the bar open. It will just be a little saloon door I will build, but there was not much added into the interior. I added the piano and a bar, and it's kind of a little bit messy in there. You can, if you want to and wish, as I mentioned, build your own inside. You just gotta organize it and just polish it a little bit in there, because it was not really my intention to do so. But here's a little extra thing I can show you. Here's a saloon door you can use, and you can use the Western signs for that. And I actually never considered using those in Planet Coaster 1 until today. So it actually adds a nice little feeling that this is one of those saloon doors that you can just open up, and it kind of jumps up as you see them when they come in and they kick the door in. It's super cool. But we are adding a little bit of clutter here around the build, and as you can see, we are just really going ham with that and just trying to add wherever we need some stuff. And afterwards, you can see I'm adding a little shed on the side here. I was not really, I felt like I made a little bit of an outhouse in a sense, but in that case, it just turned out to be more of a shed. This can be a storage shed, I guess, where they can keep on all their whiskey and the bottles and whatever they have in here that they don't want anyone to have. So that was kind of the whole purpose with this. And as you can see, I'm kind of figuring out a way to make it feel small and not too superior, because I want this build to stand out. and not have anything else added to it besides this. So this wasn't take the whole attention from it. But we are adding this and doing it very nice. And then we're doing again, adding a little bit of clutter, and we're not really focusing any much else on this part here, because we are going to add a little bit of decals on the ground to make it feel like it's also kind of, you know, grungy, a little bit dirty, and just giving that super nice Western street vibe, as you know. But before we end off the video completely, I did say that I wanted to add a little bit of stuff on the other side of the Western build here, and this is kind of like what I'm doing. I'm duplicating the stairs I did on the other side, so we can kind of like get a super nice vibe on this side too. And I am just decorating it with some nice trims, the brackets, some supports, and in a way, I just really dig the whole color scheme here with the yellow and the light brown with the darker brown, and then you kind of like have the Western vibe with the cactus and all the little sandy environment around it. And honestly, I'm a pretty big fan of this, and I did not really have a goal with this until I kind of got into the build like 2 hours in, and I was like, okay, now I can see how this build is going to turn out. And when you get that, it's just to stay on foot, stay on point, you know. I did some stuff on the backside. This whole building is completely decorated, though I didn't want to keep this video too long, so I just kept in all the more important parts that I thought that you guys might find more interesting. But adding the last pieces here, and then I think we are almost done. And that wraps up today's build. I had a blast revisiting the Western theme. It's crazy how much better these pieces look in Planet Coaster 2. Combining them with the base game themes really opened up a lot of creative opportunities. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on more Planet Coaster 2 content. Let me know in the comments what classic theme you want to see return next. Personally, I'm rooting for fantasy or spooky. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye!